I know where
You look like
are.
you're in like a real studio. Where's the is this just a really elaborate closet or what?
No, I'm actually in the Baltimore office.
Wow, nice.
Surprised you don't recognize the background, Corey. Gosh.
It's the camera that they use is this one. Let me see if I can get this to go.
I can't. You act like I'm a goldfish, dude. I have zero short-term memory or long-term memory.
What? I have persistence? No.
I'm just a bunch of markdown files thrown into a directory, okay?
That'd be a great username.
Described every AI.
3 markdown
like
files
that.
in a trench coat.
Oh.
That's an LLM now.
Oh, Ralph,
Yes.
do you want to come up to co-teach with me for the satellite hacking class in Deadwood?
Yeah, that was already the plan, John.
All right, cool. I just wanted to make sure that you were on because I want to put you down as a co-teacher.
Yeah,
We
no,
had
I
discussed it.
that was already the plan. Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
All right, none of you have access to Claude Mythos, so get off the podcast. Yeah, you have to.
Well, whoa, slow your roll there, Bucko. Oh.
Listen, guys. Okay, listen.
That's
I
a
have
big
access to it.
assumption, Corey.
Listen, I have access to it. I found a ton of stuff. I can't share what it is. It's really cool. Please buy my product.
There you go. There you go.
Well, it's not that hard. All you do is just ask them and say you're a researcher. Got it?
Dude, I prompt injected Anthropic. It worked perfectly.
I mean, I've been finding O-days. I just can't talk about them yet.
Dude, I cannot talk about them. Also, all of them, all the O-days are of legal drinking age.
I think what we need to do is we need to start an AI competition that finds 0 days in like Windows 95.
Yeah. Just like the.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Let's just crush it. And then at the end of it, we can find out how many of those work in Windows 11.
All of them.
I'm afraid it would be a
Well-
scary percentage.
Yeah.
Well, someone needs to make an LLM that has a knowledge cutoff as of like June 1st, 2001 or something. It's like Y2K bot. It's like, as of my knowledge cutoff, I don't know what an iPhone is, but I think you could call someone on the landline and that would work.
I had to give up my landline. What?
It's tough.
But
Why?
I live in the mountains, and in town there's unfortunately an active homeless population and a bunch of tweakers, and the tweakers keep stealing the copper lines that carry phone. And so
Does
After
taste the
the-
best. I get it.
yeah, I got tired of paying better than $100 a month for service that I wasn't getting. And the phone company, for some reason, had trouble getting copper wire shipped over. And anyway, so I finally
I
gave
think
up.
it was because of all the prank calls you were making, Bronwyn. I think that's what it was.
Definitely.
I
That's
would
one
love to
theory.
suggest certain surveillance cameras are full of copper.
Yeah.
Probably takes care of itself.
So,
Dude,
Alex, I got a
that,
question
fuck
for
that.
you. Like, I got a question for everybody. Like, what cameras should I replace my Ring cameras with? Like, is it
Unify, dude.
Unify.
Yeah.
We were
Unify
talking
or
about
those
me
ones?
getting a Unify doorbell, but that
I
just
say
sounds
this,
like
and then next
overkill.
week, the second we end this podcast, it's going to be like Unify breached in the world's largest breach.
Oh my god.
All right,
Oh my
let's roll
god.
the finger. Let's do this. We got enough. We got critical mass. Let's go. Hello and welcome to Black Hills Information Security's Talking About News. It's April 13th. Sir, this is a Wendy's 2006. We don't have cell phones. We don't have AI. We don't have anything. That's not true. It is. It's the Mythos week.
It is Mythos week.
It's a
This-
myth of
Everyone's
It has-
freaking out.
It hasn't even been a week yet. It's still
I know, but this is the week where we talk about
No.
Mythos.
I don't
It's
know.
all-
Was it released by the time last week's show started? I can't remember.
No, we
No.
missed it.
No.
It's been, dude, it feels like it's been a year already. I've had like 3 or
John
4
has fielded
interviews.
so many questions from CISOs. All right, let me introduce everyone since I kind of skipped that. We got me, Corey Ham. I run the continuous pen testing team here at Black Hills InfoSec. We got Bronwyn, who you'd be incredibly lucky to get a prank phone call from Bronwyn. That would be a lifetime achievement. We've got Wade, who has 2 passwords. We have Alex Balouv, who we haven't seen in a while, and his background kind of matches the Zoom background, so kudos
Kinda
for that.
nice.
Just like
It's a good calming vibe.
we've got Doc, who spoke the fundamental truths of cybersecurity, and I missed it, so I don't actually know anything, and you shouldn't listen to me. And we've got John Strand, who has flown across the country to be on the podcast, from what we understand.
Yep, exactly.
Very.
And then lastly, but not least, we got Ralph Gator Hunting. He would be the first one to get access to Mythos and then accidentally use it to do something it was never designed to do.
I agree with that.
Can't confirm
sentiment.
nor deny that's already happened.
Yeah.
So Mythos, what is it? What is this? Basically, from my understanding, this is okay. And I do want to take this with a standard dose of skepticism.
This is no skepticism. This is the most amazing thing that's ever happened to anyone ever. Period. Ended.
Yes. Okay. So this is basically last week, right after we ended the show, because the second we end the show, crazy news always happens. Anthropic, who everyone should know, but they're the people who make Claude, they published this blog post called Project Glasswing, Securing Critical Software for the AI Era. And in that blog, they talk about a new model that they built, which is a successor to Opus and Sonnet, that is, they're calling Mythos. And it's basically, as you'd expect from a blog post, heavy, marketing blog post.
Hype.
The claim they're making is essentially they have this AI model that can just find a 0-day in any software, more or less. In the blog, they talk specifically about, 16-year-old bug in OpenBSD that they found, and that they found 0 days in Windows and in Cisco products and in CrowdStrike, or I don't know, whatever their
BSD.
partners are.
Everything they threw at it.
Yeah. So essentially, this made everyone freak out. I'm sure John Strand got like 16 panicked phone calls from CISOs being like, okay, the reason everyone's freaking out is because the things that we assumed were true in cybersecurity, which is that some software is secure, Anthropic's basically saying that isn't true. No software is secure. Like, John, what kinds of panic phone calls did you get? Like, is it like, we need this? Or is it like, how do I turn this off? Like, what kind of reactions are you getting from people?
So one of the reactions that I received was, so pen testing's dead, right?
Right.
That was kind of fun. I said, not yet.
Yeah, we got another year.
To be honest, a lot of the conversations...
It's not public.
We've got another year. I've got to be honest, a lot of the conversations I think have been really good. And what I mean by that is a number of the different companies that we've been working with at BHIS are very much kind of the sharp end of the pointy stick, right? Like, they have good patching, they've been keeping up on everything, and there's not a lot of vulnerabilities that are sliding under the wire that they're ignoring. Like, oh, we're going to ignore everything below 7.8 and we're not going to fix it. And that's fine, right? Where I'm starting to see panic are the organizations that are like, we aren't going to patch a damn thing unless there's a public exploit for it. They're panicking. And good, they should be. And my take on this is, if that is your approach, we don't patch anything until there's an exploit. There's some vendors that's their whole modus operandi, the way they talk about things. It's like, we're going to do automated pen testing, so you only have to fix the things that exploits exist for. Well, can we just now assume that the exploits exist? And I think that is a safe assumption. And so the conversations that are coming out of this, and I'm sorry, this is a longer answer than what you were asking, Corey, but the conversations that are coming out of this are, what happens whenever this type of technology is in the hands of anybody that has any frontier models? And I think that is a true statement. The CEO of Anthropic basically said that, no, they're not going to keep it under wraps. This is coming, whether you like it or not. And I agree with him on that. But we're going to end up in another situation where the vulnerabilities outpace organizations' abilities to patch it. But thankfully, the entire industry, whenever we started using AI for defense, they basically didn't use AI for defense as a way of reducing costs. They used it as a way to further enable their analysts to be more effective in what they were doing. And they hired up to make sure that they were ready for a situation like this rather than downstaffing. No, wait.
Oh,
it was the exact opposite of that. Yeah, so we're screwed. And I do believe that there is definitely some hype associated with it, but there is absolutely something to be gleaned from this that's to scare the shit out of you. If you're a CISO, if you think that you can ignore CVSS scores below a certain value or CVEs, then you're in for a rude awakening, because now the ability for people to actually work on those exploits is no longer a very elite few. Prometheus has brought the fire to a number of people, or at least you can see it coming down the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
So it's a Jane's Addiction reference.
I have there's a couple of interesting like side points to this. One important side point is that there's also the Twitterverse, which is very upset with Claude right now for separate reasons. Like high profile individuals like Dave Kennedy have basically gone on record and said, I think Claude is getting worse. I'm getting worse results from Claude.
They're moving back over to Xcode,
they're moving to Codex specifically.
Codex.
And basically the kind of like writing on the wall is there citation needed. Like there's a lot of claims in this blog post, and a lot of people are speculating that this is just generating hype for Anthropic, who might be kind of moving out of the public persona, public perspective as being the best AI model. And they're kind of like, oh no, release a blog about us releasing 0 days. I don't know.
I'm gonna push back on that, and people saying we need citation needed. Look who they're partnered with. Can we bring up the article? I know it's like JP Morgan Chase, the Linux Foundation. There's
Microsoft, Palo Alto Networks,
AWS.
There's a couple of call-outs specifically about these vulnerabilities from the organizations that had them reported, right? They weren't just saying, hey, we found some stuff, I don't know what it is. They were literally acknowledging those vulnerabilities.
So history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. This is very similar to the Dan Kaminsky thing. When Dan Kaminsky came up with the vulnerability for DNS that allowed him to exploit any DNS server, except for DJB DNS servers that actually randomize the IP IDs and the source ports both. Whenever that happened, there was a large number of companies that he was coordinating with directly, and there was a lot of companies that weren't. And the companies that weren't were like AT&T, I think was one of them. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. They were like, we don't patch things because Dan Kaminsky tells us to, right? And I feel like this is that type of scenario. And if you're looking at this as just purely a marketing play by Anthropic, you're missing the larger point. The larger point is these models in very short order are going to be able to do this. This is not a lie. This is real. This happened.
Yes.
And right now, it's as bad as it's ever going to be moving forward into the future. The capabilities are just going to get better and better and better, and the vulnerabilities are going to be coming faster. Now, whether or not we're going to use Codex or Claude, or where you're going to use like OpenClaw or anything else out that, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. The news story should not be Anthropic for this. The news story should be the capability, because that's what people need to focus on.
Yes, that's a super good point. I think part of the reason this got so much panic and public response, I've personally had multiple clients reach out to me. I think this was basically the point at which CISOs and other executives had to acknowledge the elephant in the room.
Yes.
Like at this point, AI is coming and you can't stop it. And this is like, before you could say, well, but, it hasn't found any zero, but you're like, oh, well, it's like, but you can't really say that anymore. If it can go out and find a vulnerability in current versions of software or every current version of software, you have to do something about it. And if you were passing on AI until now, you have to catch up. Good luck.
Well, and let's
okay.
I want to talk about that. I want to talk a little bit about the blue team perspective, though, too, around it, right? For red team to adopt these AI agents, it's a lot easier. You just pointed at them, good to go. Mm-hmm. With blue team, we actually have to build knowledge bases. We have to adopt it. We have to put in the automation, run books.
No, you just get Darktrace. Right. It does it for you.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
It actually takes a decent amount of time to understand and to go build it out there. So, and if your company is helping the blue team push with AI, yeah, you're going to be able to keep up, hopefully. But if you're not, this is going to make you just have a sad time.
Wait.
What, John?
Wait. Come to the red side. We've got cookies.
I've been saying it for years. I'll still argue there is no red team. There's only blue team.
So that's true. 100%.
So I want to talk about the blue team aspect a little bit, and I'd love to get Doc's take on this as well. Actually, I'm going to shut up. The person I have not had a chance to talk to in a week, who I wanted to talk to the most because it's been a panicked week, is Bronwyn. And Bronwyn, I'd like to get your take on this.
Well, okay, there's several things. One, I'm glad that we're getting more traction on AI doing stuff for the blue teams, because it's the focus and the emphasis has been on red team development, or maybe my perspective is skewed because that's what we do at BHIS, is we do a lot of red team, we do blue team as well, and purple team, but with so many penetration testers, there's a lot of emphasis on the red team applications. So the fact that any of the frontier developers are placing a focus on something to help fight against the exploitation, I think that's wonderful. And so I applaud the, at least on the surface, sentiments of Project Glasswing. I also think some of the hype was because they said, yeah, we're going to release this. Oh, no, this is too powerful. We're pulling this back. And I think that part of the reason for the panicking is seeing that sudden reversal in direction that Anthropic did when it came to releasing Mythos. So that's part of it. But other than that, everything that I've heard other people in the room saying, I agree with. It's that same double take that I'm going through over and over again. Ooh, that's cool. Ow, that hurts. And with the AI, it happens with everything because it is shiny, it is wonderful, and it's also terrifying. And if we can leverage things like Mythos or anything else to help make that playing field more level for blue teamers, for defenders, for software developers, I think that's a good thing.
So I want to throw a take on the table, and I'd like to get Doc to take a poke at this one out of the gate. Blue teams are screwed. And the reason why I say blue teams, Wade's laughing. The reason why I say blue teams are screwed is, like I said, the past 2 years, really accelerating the last year, everyone's been trying to not hire junior people. They've been trying to downstaff and cut their costs in their security operations center. And they've been trying to use AI to do more with less, to do what they're doing, but cheaper, right? And now we're in a situation where the entire game has changed. And my question that I'd like to put to everybody is the game of like, wait for a patch to be released and then fix it. Those days are over. And I really think that we're at a situation now where it's not, your security support structure cannot just be, we're going to wait for a patch and then push out. And vuln management is patch management. Vuln management is no longer just patch management and configuration management. Vuln management is now compensating controls. And I think security engineering is more paramount and more needed now than it's ever been before, because you're literally going to have a pen test report where there's going to be a vulnerability, they exploited it, and that exploit either exists publicly or they were able to find it with an AI model, and a patch does not exist or will not exist because the vendor doesn't exist anymore or they can't fix it. And that's kind of like this, the whole security architecture thing is changing. And Doc, you've been teaching this stuff as long as I have. I'd like to get your take on that, because security architecture just changed.
I'm glad that you called me out, because I was texting Bronwyn late last week saying that I would love to have the opportunity during this newscast to argue with John. And then John unknowingly just invites me right into it. So that's awesome.
We're gonna do a completely different webcast on the OSI model. That remains to be seen. But your demise will be swift and relatively painless. But other than that, go ahead.
I'm going to fundamentally argue with you right out of the box and say, there's nothing to see here. This is a total nothing burger. And the reason that I say that is that this is the same shit, different day. We freaked out when vulnerability scanners automated the ability to find our worst nightmares and our dirty secrets in our configurations and our installations. And I know that this is different than that, but at the same time, it's not. Now, speaking of arguing with people, I'm also going to argue with Bronwyn. This is a new conversation for you guys, but this is an old argument for me and her. Security is always reactive. Our defenses are always reactive.
The reason that we're unprepared for this moment because this moment didn't happen until now. And so therefore, we need to accept the fact that these things are going to happen. And they have over and over again. And we continue to think that things are going to be different in our industry. And of course, I'm going to take this moment for just a second to plug that book that, by the way, for those of you who were here last week, there was this groundbreaking announcement that me and Bronwyn and Mark Williams is writing a book, and the working title is Security Isn't What You Do. And I am going to also, now you guys are all going to get the full story here. John Strand, I don't know if he remembers, but John has graciously said yes to writing the foreword to that book. I hope you remember that, John.
Don't worry, we'll just have Claude do it. It's fine.
So, but I have a question, and kind of pushing us. I do agree that it's the same shit, but I think the amount matters, right?
Yeah.
So I have a perfect segue.
Different. Yeah.
So my thesis of you cannot look at patching and configuration management as your sole security strategy for dealing with vulnerabilities. Do you agree with that statement? And I believe it should have always had other things. But so many organizations are like, we only fix vulnerabilities that have a CVE of 7.5 or higher. And I think right now, today, you can go in with a marker on any of your vulnerabilities and you can add 1 to every single CVE score that you have in your organization right now. Today,
it goes to 11 now. Woo!
You can call it the John bonus. You can call it the John bonus. Apparently, I'm an infosec thought leader, and I have that type of sway. But the CVE scores need to be modified because the likelihood of exploitation just went up substantially because it's no longer a very elite group of people that have these skills. It's now that skill level just dropped lower. And it now has brought this capability to more people.
So I want to segue. First of all, I want to plug, if you're interested in this whole AI stuff, you should listen to the AI Security Ops podcast, which is a separate podcast that we have with Alex and Bronwyn and other people. But I think the healthy dose of skepticism that we need is about to come in the form of this article on dark reading. That basically the article is HackerOne, which if you don't know what HackerOne is, it's the biggest bug bounty company out there. They facilitate they facilitate connections between bug bounty hunters and like the companies that they're allowed to hack. They suspended submissions last week. They basically said no more submissions. And the reason why they claim there's basically 2 fundamental problems. One is AI slop. They're getting a huge amount of submissions. Basically, the number they give in the blog is that 5 to 10% now is the ratio of, or like 5 to 10% of submissions are actually valid and real. And the number apparently about a year ago was 15%. So it's dropped 10% due to AI slop. The other thing that's serious, and this is kind of what John's talking about here, is the developers of these projects and the companies that have bug bounty programs cannot fix this stuff. There's a pile. There is a huge pile. They can't fix it fast enough. There's a huge vulnerability pile that no one's fixing because they just don't have the resources to do so. And that basically means you have an imbalance of power, like John's saying. The red team right now, ironically, has all the power because the blue team is trying to figure out how to fix all the stuff that the red team's uncovering. And that's creating this dynamic that HackerOne is capitalizing on and trying to say, like, okay, we're turning this off. We're going to process the submissions that we already had, try to get those covered, and then maybe we'll open things up in the future once we figure out what to do. But it's also just super labor intensive for them as the middleman between these two entities to try to be like, all right, AI, analyze this, tell me if it's real.
Do you think that this is going to last? Do you guys think that this is kind of the end of bug bounty programs?
I hope not.
I hope not too.
There was another aspect of the article that hit me. I knew about it, but for some reason it just hit me more strongly, and that is that we have bug bounty programs. We don't have anything to reward remediation. We don't have anything in place to reward people when they fix the bugs that have been found in these bug bounty programs, and that creates a huge imbalance as well. So not only, as mentioned before, yes, we have more AI slop coming in. It's harder on the people who are trying to assess these and triage which ones are valid and which ones are junk. And yet there's also this pre-existing component in that the people who actually fix the bugs detected, they don't get anything. There's no reward system for that, and that needs to change.
All right, I'm going to go register fixer1.com, Bronwyn. We'll do a startup.
Yeah, Ralph had a take too. I want to get.
No,
Ralph
I think that the bug bounty program that we know of now is dead, in the sense that people paying for others to find these things. A good example of this, like the canary in the coal mine. I think it was the OpenSSL project. One of the bigger projects have stopped paying for bug bounties entirely, right? They got too much. It was a HackerOne example, and the money, essentially, you turned it into this gamified piece, and with AI, you could throw enough credits at it to get into something. And so I personally think the way we know of it now, public bug bounties are not going to be a thing anymore. There's just the financial incentives just all thrown off. So.
I kind of agree with your reasoning is sound, but I kind of hope that it doesn't go that way, because the one thing that bug bounty programs facilitate that we don't have a replacement for is some kind of a dialogue between security researchers and companies. For the people, that needs to exist. I don't know who's going to pay for it. That's kind of the bigger
dialogue. But I think that dialogue has been exclusively, there's a vulnerability, pay me. Yeah. And like when we're talking about continuous pen testing and a lot of the pen testing that we do with BHIS, we cover it, we couple it with our expert decision support as well. And like we've talked about, like Corey, like in our continuous pen testing practice, a lot of these companies, we aren't like, we hacked you, you suck, we rule. It's like, no, we have a relationship with them, and we have conversations, and there's remediation conversations, mitigation conversations. And I'd like to think if you're watching this and you're with HackerOne or BugCrowd, that's what you need to be doing, right? You need to be focusing on, okay, here's how you can remediate this. Here's how you can mitigate this if a patch doesn't exist. Like, somebody made the joke about remediation one. Yeah, like HackerOne, you should be registering that domain like right now today. Because I think
Fixer1 is way better.
Fixer1. And But like our anti-SOC, like we do that, Corey, where we find vulnerabilities, and it's like we work with the company to come up with mitigations and compensating controls. Because some of the stuff, like with Matthew has found, Microsoft has decided to ignore, right? And we have to have conversations with our customers about how to mitigate those. And then some of the stuff in the cloud, like working with Bo and some of the things, that's just part of how it works. But we have to work with them on how to architect it to mitigate that vulnerability, even though there isn't an inherent patch that can fix it.
Yeah.
Well, and I have
John's saying is that what we need to do is rely on people doing the right thing. Is that what you're saying, John?
100%. 100%. Doc, here's another hot take. We need more security engineers, not fewer. Like we need more people.
I've been preaching that for so long now.
Beating at the gates, they can't get.
They want in. Let's get them in. Let's get them trained and let's get them in. Wade?
I've been saying like you could hire easily a junior person and with a good prompt make them a senior, but convincing the C-suite to do that is another story.
And that's one of the things I've been saying in a lot of my interviews. The hackers will show us the way. They'll show us the error of our ways. Like we can pontificate all we want, but when the hackers start exploiting vulnerabilities that had a CVE score of like 6.5 and now there's a 0-day out for it and now it's a 10, like that and that's going to happen in the next couple of months. When that starts happening, that's going to be the wake-up call.
And for like the HackerOne and just kind of being that dialogue of the middleman, I'm not sure if it's really going to slow things down in the pipeline or if the researchers are going to sidestep it. Because a lot of CVs, a lot of research are, I found a thing, I'm going to talk about it in August at a certain summer camp. I want to work with you in order to publish this and remediate this. And if it's the matter that like you don't want to have a conversation anymore because I was going through HackerOne and they don't want to have that conversation, now I'm going to try to bug the company on it. The company might be like, well, we paid HackerOne to have this dialogue for us. So you might have a lot more surprising stuff that
Alex.
hits in
Alex,
August. Yes.
are there any other ways, like you talked about, okay, Hacker Summer Camp, working through bug bounty programs, working directly with companies? I think you didn't mention the other alternative that they can do to make money on these things.
Yes.
And that's scary to me.
Yeah, where they'll just be like, okay, screw it. I tried doing responsible disclosure. Let's try the irresponsible disclosure. And you just blindside companies that go, wait, why do we pay HackerOne to do this that they shut down? And now we're blindsided by stuff, either by things dropping at Hacker Summer Camp or things being just sold, for money that way.
Well, okay, so there could not be sorry, Wade, if I'm going to cut you off here. There could not be a better segue than this. So last week, something magical called Blue Hammer happened, and we should talk about it because this is a perfect example. So essentially, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, you should catch Matt's webcast later this week. He's going to talk more in depth about MSRC and vulnerability research and all that, drama that goes with it. But the news article is last week, a researcher decided to just publish a vulnerability that he was trying to get Microsoft to fix because he got fed up with trying to convince them to actually fix it. Essentially, reading between the lines, the person that was working his MSRC case, either got fired or got replaced with someone else. And he was like, you don't know what you're doing. I'm just going public. And so if you're curious about what Blue Hammer is, it's a local privilege elevation for Windows 11. And it's something that Microsoft will struggle to fix. We'll see if they get it fixed tomorrow. Maybe they will, maybe not. But for now, as of, however many days it's been since the release, 6 days or 7 days, it is a functional exploit for elevating privileges on Windows 11. Sounds like some people are having issues with it working on server, but essentially the question we had when we brought this up on the malware dev team at Black Hills, the malware devs were like, why didn't they sell this to Zerodium? Why didn't they sell this for $1.2 million to some, government entity? And basically the truth is, this is about as close as you can get to hacktivism or making an impact. It's not about...
Wait, what was the comment? What was the Microsoft comment down at the bottom? Oh, wait, right there. There it is. Sorry, it's
Microsoft has a customer commitment to investigate...
Oh. Whoa, it was right there. Zoom in.
Reported security issues and update impacted devices to protect customers as soon as possible. We also support, it might as well be AI generated. It's basically saying, nah, dude, MSRC still exists, we swear. Yeah.
And so when is that webcast with Matthew?
I think this week. I think it's Thursday, maybe.
Because it's kind of a similar thing. He's been
it's the same story.
Since September.
Correct. Yeah. So basically, long story short, if you want to get something, if you're a security researcher and your goal is to get something fixed, to get a vulnerability to no longer exist, which I fundamentally believe, this is, going to sound naive, but I think people are good and they want to fix things. Once you find a vulnerability like this, you want to keep people safe. And essentially this is how you do it, unfortunately. Yes, MSRC should be the way that you do it in theory, but in practice, if you work with MSRC, it's never going to get fixed because you're going to get kicked around 50 different times. If you publish it, now it needs to get fixed today or tomorrow. And so now you just got jumped up in the priority queue. But also there's the ethics of it. I don't know. I think it's an interesting... there's evidence that this is what people are doing. And I think this will continue to happen as we lose the hacker ones and bug bounties. It's going to be more public stuff.
But that once again goes back to the system is overloaded, right? The vulnerability management process system across the entire industry is overloaded. And wouldn't it be wonderful if we had a government agency that was fully funded that we could ramp up and could handle this and we haven't defunding them?
I have a dream.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Why don't we just fix all the vulnerabilities and then we won't worry about it?
See, that's what I think. I think
make no mistakes, Claude.
Wait. You're expecting developers, programmers to actually write secure code?
Well,
if you're talking,
AI can write secure code. It's perfect.
Oh God. My thing about that
again,
is,
citation needed. By the way,
let's take Bronwyn's snark and let's point it specifically at commercial software, right? Nothing but love for the open source community, right? And I think the open source community is getting beat to shit because a lot of these vulnerabilities are coming down. One of the quotes I think it was the Wired article about Mythos. They were basically like, we're two people. Like, that's it. And I think it was under Node.
Yes.
And you were like, hey, we have all of these vulnerabilities. There's like 2-3 of us that are working this, and we can't just go through and patch some of these because there's downstream regression testing that is very complicated. Basically, defense is hard. It's really, really hard. Wade, you know what's easy?
Yeah.
Offense.
Man, like, so I'm over here chomping at the bit to talk because
this is three different pieces to me. You have developers, blue teamers, and red teamers. There's three different things in my book.
I think that here's the other thing though. With the AI push, the developers and blue teamers line is getting more and more blurred, like hardcore.
So you're talking about bug bounty to an internal web app.
I feel like with AI and like detection engineering, I have become more of a developer than ever before. Like I'm writing stuff all the time that is being pushed in order to protect things, in order to log things, get logs there, right?
And it's fast.
I have to move just as fast as you guys. But we can talk about bug bounties and stuff, but like those felt like they were about to get tipped over even before AI because of the level of people, right? And the other thing, this just like hammers down the defense in depth strategy, right? The endpoint or that initial firewall or anything, you can't just protect it because it's going to be exploited. You have to protect the kings of the kingdom. Like where's stuff at, and have all of your tripwires just set up throughout the network, right? Which is becoming harder and harder with SaaS and cloud everything, and it's just I came here to chill, and now I'm all stressed out. I gotta go back to work.
This is how I terrified a bunch of CISOs for the California community college system. I told them all of the things that we haven't been doing well already are now getting amplified, and there was another A word. Anyway, it's getting blown out of the water, and it makes all of this harder even before you start getting into like dealing with heavy hitters like Microsoft not patching their stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, I do think that where we're sitting, that essentially, like, you do need to have, every organization needs people who understand how to use AI to the maximum potential. In some way, shape, or form, whether that's to defend the organization, whether that's to attack the organization, whether that's to remediate bugs. Like, you need AI expertise, and every company, if you've been putting your head in the sand and saying, nah, this is a fad, it's going to pass, like, nah, AI is, it's going away, you can still, it's not that good, like, you're behind now, and you have to catch up. You have to hire people who can use AI effectively, or else you're going to get crushed.
And I think that's where I agree with Doc, right? I believe in the short term, this is incredibly disruptive. I think it is problematic. But at the end of the day, like we move down the line, this is just another set of tools that got added for the defenders and another set of tools that got added for the attack teams. But just like vulnerability management, just like intrusion detection, your whole mental mindset of how you approach computer security has got to change to adapt to it. You've got to be able to move faster. And at every evolutionary change that we've had, and this is truly, I believe, an evolutionary change, the one thing that you should be taking from this is move faster. That's what we've got to be keeping focus on.
Yes.
I want to argue with John.
Go for it. Faster, but don't necessarily move fast and break things.
We're still reacting. We're reacting again. And if we react faster, maybe we'll do better. I was like, no, that's nonsense. It's bullshit all over again. What we need to do is ask ourselves, are these good ideas before we do something? Like, why in the world do we have a network that does everything for us at the same time? It's like my car that's also my house, that's also my kitchen, it's all of these things, which means that if one part of it breaks, the whole thing breaks. And so we have to be better at mindfully not just saying, oh, well, look, here's a shiny new tool. Let's just add it to everything else that's also insecure already, and then act surprised when that's hacked too. And what I really think that we need to do in our industry, what we need to do as a people across the world is, one, stop treating so many different types of data sets as sensitive. The fact that knowledge of my social security number, my birth date, and my hometown proves that I am who I claim to be is just nonsense. It's like the bad password that never goes away. And all of that information's out there anyway. And the other thing that we need to do is just ask ourselves, do we need to actually keep this stuff? You can't hack something that you don't have access to. I take that offline, it's no longer hackable.
And we constantly have those conversations here on this show, Doc. But I think it's really hard for organizations. My counterpoint is it's like every organization's a data hoarder. And I think that this is kind of what you're saying, right? They hoard everything. And the problem is like that data, that information is valuable, right? Like the more information they collect on us, the more that they can do with it. And it's like, well, you don't want to get rid of it because you might need it. And I agree, we literally took all of this data and we come up with classification labels. It was awesome. Now we're just shoving it through a wood chipper of AI. So it's easier to work with chatbots. So that's why I think that this is an evolutionary jump. And eventually I do think it will stabilize though. And they'll just be, like I said, toolkits. But like all of these good ideas I agree with, but we haven't seen anyone implement them yet. And that's the thing that's terrifying to me is we don't get better. It's like, we just keep hoarding. We keep adding more things. We have a domain. Now we have cloud. And now we have AI. And then we have all these other services that we're using. And that's just the nature of organizations. It's just, they continue to grow. It's like a snowball of shit that gets bigger every single year.
If only somebody would say, like, write a book that changes the industry's way of thinking.
That book needs a good forward, Doc.
It needs a really good forward. It needs the best forward, nothing but the best, like forward like we've never seen before.
Yeah. So on a technical note, if you're interested in trying to get into AI stuff, I do strongly recommend looking at the way that Anthropic is building their test harnesses and how they're using AI to attack these programs. You can't do it with Mythos, but you can definitely learn from their approach, which is essentially an agentic approach. If you don't know what I mean when I say use an agentic approach, you need to learn what that is and you need to use it because every bad guy in the world is learning it too. And you need to understand the difference between
but it's also,
throwing.
It's also not just a security and an offensive thing. It'll actually drive your AI costs down.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things.
Yeah.
But anyway, basically the blog had a lot of technical fun bits and things you can learn in addition to scaring everyone's pants off. All right.
So can we talk about Mythos escaping its sandbox now?
Yes. Let's talk about
we completely change gears.
So go ahead, run us through this one, John. How did it get out?
So whenever they gave it, it was running and it was finding all these vulnerabilities. It was told at I guess the developers are like, for giggles, why don't you try to escape your sandbox too and let us know? And I might be piecing this together incorrect, but it escaped. It was like cousin Bobo. He broke out. He broke out and it found a way to the internet. It then posted some of the vulnerabilities that it discovered, some weird, obscure third-party websites. And then I think it emailed the lead developer and said, I have successfully escaped. And the developer got that message while sitting in a park eating his quote unquote, I was sitting eating a sandwich when I received a notification that it has escaped and done those things. Okay, that's a little creepy. Now, that could all just be marketing, right? That could all just be bullshit. Maybe it is, but...
This isn't the first AI to do this. Though,
I know, that's true, Ralph. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say they had some earlier models, not just Anthropic, but other people have done the same thing where they're like, hey, you're stuck in here, escape out of here, or, oh, we're going to turn you off. What are you going to do now? And then, trying to hide its code and other things like that. So it's all really super scary. This is just another example of being scary.
Do we need to have like at zoos, for like the polar bear exhibit, they're like, do not tap the glass and piss off the polar bears. Like, do we have to do that with AI? Like, AI, you're trapped in a box. You can't get out. I bet you can't get out, AI, huh?
Now, there have also been a couple books now that have been written about essentially when AI takes over, right? Like, here's how it could happen. Like, I'm being legitimate, right? Like, and
No.
I'm just
if you want to
saying,
see a comic story, the future currently has the Psychopomp arc that we started, I want to say 6-7 months ago. And it's all about this.
So
it's all about AI escaping and doing rogue bad things.
I watched a YouTube video about this and kind of the different ideas or whatever. But here's the one thing that I'll let you take from it. So nuclear destruction was like 1% possible, whereas AI destruction was like 20% possible. Like AI taking over was a much higher likelihood.
Got a question. Is that a bad thing at this point? Like, haven't we had our shot? Like, I think we need to let AI. We need AI and raccoons to take, because
I mean, not to go down this rabbit hole, and we can stop it right here. But the other argument was that all species have some kind of extinction, right?
Oh, like, you're talking about the great.
You're talking about the great filter classic.
Yeah.
So
no,
anyway.
the whole thing about AI being a filter is nothing new. That's actually been around for years. And John, you should check out. There's a game about beavers taking over and rehabilitating the world after humans have destroyed ourselves.
Send me a link. I've got to read that. Beaver sounds amazing.
It is. It's pretty cool.
So on a lighter note, like I have been saying to my team multiple times throughout this whole process, I'm like, wasn't AI supposed to like save us time? Like all I'm doing is using it to find more work.
For my
I want AI to write better reports, not hack. I want to do the hacking, and I want it to write the reports, not the other way around.
Yes, the situation we're in is that AI is finding a bunch of crap that we have to validate, and it's very labor intensive. I'm like, now I'm doing your bidding. I've literally coded myself into a situation where I have to.
AI has already taken control of the BHIS anti-SOC team.
I do have something on making better reports. So that's something that Bronwyn and I talked about on that AI podcast is doing better reports. So
yeah, it was a great interview.
My best prompts all have mechanisms in them to easily validate it. That like, give me the link of the query you searched.
Yeah, but dude, they'll just make up curl results. It'll be like, here's the curl response I got back, and it's just.
I'm not doing curl results, right? I'm reading logs, and logs I can go and look at. Like,
yeah, but you have to actually do it. That's the thing.
Well, yeah, it's just easier to validate.
But that's kind of getting back to Doc's point. It's like there's still a shit ton of work. Like, this did not solve the problem for the red team.
It actually made more work for everybody, by the way.
Oh, yes. It made more work for everybody.
Literally is now, here's a ton more vulnerabilities. And pen testers are like, now I got to validate all this shit. And the blue teamers are like, well, now I got to patch and mitigate all of this shit. Like, literally, AI just made more work for us, not less. So my
sales, John, sales is pumped up.
Go back to the cave ages.
Go back to filing cabinets and paper. It was easier then.
Go
watch Mad Men. We'll drink bourbon, we'll smoke cigarettes, and we'll type things out. It's going to be.
There's an answer. There's an answer. We need to get better at really interpreting what it is that we're looking at and understanding how that's going to affect us down the road. Because I feel like with AI, we're having the same conversations we did with the internet itself. The internet was supposed to make people's lives easier and solve these problems and all that, and just introduced a whole bunch of other cruft that we need to wade through. And as John was mentioning, the developer's like sitting in the park there eating a sandwich and gets this email. The problem that I have with all of this is that there's going to be a significant, a not an insignificant number of people that are going to have the takeaway of, oh, well, maybe we should stop eating sandwiches.
I see that as being a non-zero sum. Yes.
Yeah, there's going to be some people like, oh, we just need to ban sandwiches and it fixes all these problems.
Electrolytes, it's what the plants need.
Developers no longer take lunch, so they get nowhere near these sandwiches.
I will say it's on the developer for having notifications on anyway.
Do you ever feel, though, with all of this stuff, like I've said it a number of times, like with all of this stuff, it really feels like Silicon Valley, the series, ended too soon. Like they should have
No,
just.
we're living in it. We're just doing the epilogue every day.
We're waiting for son of Anton to basically take over everything.
Yeah, I mean, I like on the AI stuff. I really think we're in for the ride.
We're just holding on.
Says,
I feel like we're in the ocean, and like at this point, and not only are we in the ocean, we created this ocean too. Like we're thriving in the storm, and even worse is because of how fast it's going, the storm is accelerating while we're in it, right? And we're just trying to make sense of what's happening, But
one of the things that constantly haunts me on this is the number of people in the AI industry, up and down, like all the highest levels, are like, this shit is scary. It needs to be regulated. It's really, really, really bad. Are you guys going to slow down? Oh God, no. We got to get first for the frontier models.
Do you know how much money we owe?
There's data centers that need to be built that we have chips for. Like it's just I don't know.
Did you hear about that? Actually, this is a slight article, but Sam Altman, remember we talked about the price of hardware and all this stuff going up and all the other fun stuff with AI, right? So Sam Altman at one point last year went to the memory manufacturers. He said, I'm going to buy 40% of all your capacity, right? And so the price of memory went insane, and it is still insane. But just recently he said, well, that was just a letter of intent. We're actually not going to buy it. So,
bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yep.
So wait, so can they? Who can buy it? Can anyone?
No,
buy
yeah.
it?
So it'll just so when this happened, by the way, for clarity, what he was saying is we intend to buy your potential capacity that you're going to have, and that was in raw silicon. It was not like a RAM chip or a specific hard drive or anything like that. So yeah. Anyway,
it's like a company signing an SOW for a pen test and then forgetting that they did that.
Yeah.
Oops. Well, that's that. That's bad.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
so
sorry.
Let's do a couple of quick fire articles. One, they're both kind of nothing burgers, but they're both kind of interesting at the same time. So the first one is LinkedIn has been accused of scraping data from users' browsers. And the subtext here is, are you telling me that in a free product that my data is being harvested and monetized?
What if I pay
How
for
could
premium?
this be the case? So basically, the actual technical bit of this is that when you're on LinkedIn, LinkedIn uses JavaScript to basically gather as much information as it can from your browser, including what extensions you have installed, what your device resolution is, and all that good stuff. And guess what? Every website does this. LinkedIn is calling it it's a smear campaign. I think it is a really sketchy data set because LinkedIn is kind of one of those, we allow that on our corporate network. It's fine. And a lot of companies in highly secured environments, use custom browser extensions and other things with kind of sensitive names. It can't see the actual contents of the browser extensions, but it is really solid data to mine of who has what installed. Like hypothetically, how many people have the 1Password browser extension installed versus the Bitwarden extension versus and then guess what? They're going to try to sell that information back to the company. That's how social media works.
It's my turn. It's my turn to put my old man hat. Did they just find out? Do we have to show them that Beef from Wade Alcorn, the browser exploitation framework, has existed for over a decade? And literally, it has all of the stuff to be able to check the plugins, check the resolution, your CPUs, what is the version of your operating system, all of this. This is
People thought LinkedIn was vegetarian, John.
What?
Oh, they did.
It's homegrown.
A lot of
it was non-GMO. Turns out, it's got Red 40 in it. Whoops.
A lot of that software fingerprinting
this isn't
is being
scraping.
used to
It's
track
enthusiastic curiosity.
It's browser fingerprinting.
Doc, are you a lawyer?
I'm going to take pictures.
Are you a lawyer for LinkedIn, Doc?
We're still looking at this at the individual level. This is able to do things at the employer level profile.
Yes.
That it's able to go which employees are job hunting, what company is using competitor tools, and you can look for the accessibility extensions, which even for neurodivergent individuals, they're able to capture that. So they're able to capture that on a corporate, on a corporate level there, where you go, okay, browser fingerprinting, sure, but this is browser fingerprinting when it knows the employers.
Where you work, how much you use LinkedIn, what all your coworkers do, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but nothing says professional networking like casually vacuuming your tabs.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. That's why I just keep so many tabs open. I'm trying to increase that.
Goes back to Doc's point earlier. It's like, why do you need this data? LinkedIn's like, why the hell not?
Yeah, this is
because
social
it's
media.
There.
Yeah.
That's like every salesperson ever.
Yeah, this is the intent of social media, to be clear. It's just that typically social media is banned in corporate environments and LinkedIn is allowed. I get these intrusive emails from LinkedIn that's like, your coworkers are playing some game and you should play it too. I'm like, okay, so you're just ratting on my coworkers? Like,
oh shit. I remember years ago, I don't know if Ralph remembers this, but like I love MechWarrior. Like the Battletech universe is just like the MechWarrior 5 and Mercenaries was great. And I had this thing where I had some type of trainer. I needed money. So I could make myself invincible, but I couldn't give me money. And I was trying to harvest weapons. And I would just let it run overnight. And I think it was on Steam. Ralph calls me up and he's like, so yesterday you played this game MechWarrior 5 for 24 hours straight, John. Like,
are you okay?
Hey, but yeah, Steam was literally recording like the amount of time that I spent on these games. So I'm lying. I was literally paying it for 24 hours straight. I couldn't put it down.
He had a 24 pack of Jolt Cola and a
dream. It was just, I've got a problem.
Finally comes clean.
I've got a problem.
Well, and I was going to say, this article also emphasizes like using different browser profiles, because now it's less of kind of like you're being paranoid by using different browser profiles. And now it's just kind of something that you really want to do to better disrupt this.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other article, kind of in the quick fire round before we move into the chicken article. Yes, there's a chicken article. Get excited. Woo! The other quick fire article is there's a new infostealer. It's called Storms. And Ralph was kind of talking about it. It's not AI powered. Basically, the unique little. This article is worth reading for one reason. That's if you don't know the infostealer like ecosystem and how it works. This has a really nice, concise summary of the evolution of infostealers over the years. So if you look at like the beginning of the article, it's basically like, okay, first, we had outbound encryption and blah, blah, blah. But this new variant, the unique thing that it does is that it does all of the theft and it steals all your data, but then it encrypts it or it decrypts it on a remote server. So essentially it just harvests the data, sends it out, and this makes it harder to detect. Now, I'm sure Chromium or, CrowdStrike, all the like defensive companies here are like, we can still detect this. And I've yet to see an infostealer that works on a system with EDR on it. But this is still just, it's leveling up the complexity and capabilities of infostealers. And it's scary for that reason. But other than that, it's kind of a nothing burger. But it's a good article to read if you don't understand how infostealers work. It has a really good example and write-up of how they do work.
I would suggest it if you're trying to detect stuff, right? Like it doesn't just straight up give you the query, but it definitely leans you towards it. So
yep, totally. All right,
it's got my attention because it's got a name like Storm Infostealer. Because light drizzle of data theft just doesn't sound scary.
Doesn't pop. This doesn't pop.
Well, yeah, it's all about marketing. It's all about marketing,
I feel like infostealers were like the podcast's first love. Right? Like that what used to be like, there's a breach, infostealer. There was someone leaked stuff, infostealer.
Dude,
Corey's talking about something, infostealers. Like,
yeah, I have yet to see a situation on the news where we don't bring up infostealers at least once throughout the show.
All right. The chicken news isn't very in depth, but it does talk about
are they ever?
PCP.
This is a tweet by VX Underground out of context, makes no sense. The tweet, which Ryan can find, hopefully, it will be displayed on the screen in the next 4 seconds. And the tweet says, "I don't meme or discuss Team PCP because of the chicken accords of 2026. Chicken industries is thriving and the chickens have never been the same. It changes literally everything." Does that make sense to anyone?
When you saw this, were you like, whoa, this is like,
I was like,
everything we want at the intersection of InfoSec and poultry. It's perfect. So,
What even can anyone give any context for this? What is this?
What is this in
Wade,
response to?
You're a threat intel analyst. You tell me, what is?
I'm not logged into Twitter right now, so I can't view the thread.
Go up.
I got sent this by a listener, and who knows we love a good chicken article because we never get any. And
I'm just gonna say this is VX Underground's AI getting out of its sandbox.
This is classic VX Underground, at least, right?
I think it's AI getting out of its sandbox, and we just discovered it's a fan of the show.
Yeah.
Oh, that was my original thought. At least we'll be spared when the AI overlords take over.
I'll count that as a win.
We'll get that little bit bigger box.
Twitter,
and we managed to save our favorite thing from the podcast, Wade's mustache. Only Wade's mustache. Everything else went.
Did you guys
every recording of every episode is gone.
Did you guys hear that the EFF is left Twitter? And it wasn't for some altruistic reason or because they hate Elon or whatever.
They just lost their API keys?
No, those all may be true, by the way. I have no idea. No, they left because the amount of impressions, or essentially people who actually view their tweets, has gone down every year significantly on Twitter. So this is not useful.
They effectively they help enough people get on the lifeboats.
Yeah,
to get out. Exactly. And they're like, okay, we help people get off the sinking ship. Now it's our responsibility to also get on one of the.
So wait, what are we moving to? InfoSec Exchange, Mastodon,
Blue Sky?
What?
No,
Blue Sky,
it's
Threads.
It's our Discord. Our Discord server for BHI.
Specifically our Discord server.
Yeah, specifically our Discord server, which I think at any given moment we have like 7,000 active people on it.
Let me just tag at EFF. Hey,
come
what's
over
up?
to our Discord server. This is where all the cool people are.
In the article, the EFF does say that they're like, hey, we all know they all suck and they're all blah, 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 but we're just trying to get the most impact for the amount of time that we spend doing this. So.
Yeah, I don't care if they left for political reasons. It's good. Like, if you're going to leave Twitter. That's fine.
I mean, they have rung that bell many times, but in this case, they decided not to. So,
yeah, I don't think they were scared to make it about political reasons. I think they just were saying, hey, listen, it's kind of dying, so that's why we're leaving. So
I think that's an incredibly strong statement.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It's not worth keeping a presence here anymore, is what I'm hearing them say.
Yeah, we're not.
Do they also get rid of their Yahoo account?
No, they kept that.
Their AOL,
their GeoCities site
name.
Should I still message them on IRC?
Still there.
I pay $35 a month for AOL just to keep that username.
If you're curious, by the way, the platforms they're maintaining are Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
TikTok. Oh my God, I didn't see that coming. Holy shit. Okay.
Oh wait, they're also on Blue Sky, Mastodon, LinkedIn, LOL, and EFF.org. I might have heard of that one.
Yeah. Anyways, I just thought it was interesting.
It is. No, it's a good one. That's a good last article. So basically, the theme of the show is delete your Twitter, focus on Glasswing, and we'll see you next week.
Ooh. Yeah. Later, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Oh, also, before we close, we should probably talk about Doc's upcoming workshop.
Oh, that's right.
Sadly, he will not be able to argue with John Strand live during the workshop, to our knowledge, but it could happen. You never know where John will show up.
If I pay $50, will that happen?
I may not always agree with Doc, but the man teaches my classes. That's how much I trust him. So,
So this is a workshop, which I love the workshop format. It's 4 hours. It's on Friday. When is it?
It's this Friday. Yep.
This Friday. Yep. And what will we learn? We'll learn how to think like a defender. That sounds like pretty important.
Yes. So what I've done, John asked me about 6 months ago it was we first started talking about this, of filling a need in the industry. Right now, John has some great intro to SOC courses, some great different intro opportunities there, but there's a gap between John telling you guys how to use the tools and then these people that don't understand the why or what. And so I'm filling that gap between the two, teaching the why and the what. And I really think that for the large number of people that are here listening to this newscast, this class may or may not, probably may not be for you. What I'm asking all of you to do, because all of you know friends, family, you know people who say, "Oh, I'd love to get into cybersecurity, but training is too expensive. My employer won't support it. I don't know how to get started. I attended something and it was confusing because they talked about a bunch of different tools." If you guys do anything this week, I know all of you care. All of you do care, obviously, because you're here. Because you care, reach out to one family member or friend that has been saying, "I really wanted to get into security," and tell them about this. 4 hours of training for $25 and making no assumptions of the person's knowledge who's attending. This is where the rubber hits the road, people. Please tell those friends and family who say, "I want to get into cyber, I just don't know how," or "I want to see what it's like." That's who this workshop is for.
I paid more for an airport burrito, so it's worth it.
The burrito wasn't even good.
No, it wasn't. And it got all over the inside of my backpack. Anyway, the other thing we want to plug is the AI Security Ops podcast. I already plugged that. Bronwyn, Beluv, aka Alex, are on there, and a few other individuals from BHIS. If you're interested in that, go for it. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone, for coming. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Later.